And we have the amazing and fabulous Benson here, who knows everything about Privy. He's going to actually be watching me today, potentially correcting things that I'm doing on Privy or could do better. Welcome, Benson. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be your co-pilot today. Typically, the co-pilots are just kind of chilling, hanging out, taking naps. Really, is what they do. But in this case, I'm not gonna nap. I'm gonna just chill with you and be along for the ride. I'm excited to see you do some business. And do you want to announce like the market, or is this something that's like you're gonna talk about and we're gonna work into it?
Well, of course we can announce the market. I'm going to be calling in Nashville, Tennessee today, y'all.
Yeah.
I gotta get your up so I can see you.
Nashville is hot. Nashville is super hot. But you know what? It's been hot for like 5 years. I don't know what it is about Nashville, but it's one of those markets where it just keeps growing. People keep moving there. Businesses keep opening up there. It's got great investor activity, which is one of the keys, right? When we're looking for deals, you want to try to find those unrenovated houses that are in the same neighborhood of those renovated homes. And so the investor activity there is good as well. And that's all great for, becoming a local market expert, learning what a deal is, getting really good comparables to prove ARV. So I'm excited that you're going to be doing Nashville.
Thank you. I'm in the Nashville market because of you. You and I talked like a few months ago about Chicago, and I was really interested in being in the Chicago market because I like that city a lot and I want to live there and at least half a year, right? So I was trying to figure it out, and it is difficult because you've got to be licensed there and all these other things. And you were the one who was like, "Hey, just look a little south, look into Nashville," and it's moving at the same speed as Chicago, less red tape.
Less red tape. It's landlord friendly, so it's better for rental properties. It's got better tax code for for businesses, which is a good thing. The only difference there is prices, right? Or triple or quadruple what they would be in the Chicago market.
Yeah, and you see like some of that in Memphis. Like you kind of see the price point that you would see in Chicago and Memphis doesn't move as quickly as Nashville, but you're still in Tennessee market.
Yeah. Has that affected your ability to bring in buyers? Do you have a smaller buyer pool down there?
Yes, absolutely. Or a different buyer pool, like Nashville, which is a higher price point. Flippers are really active there. They want something that they can put on market for the buyers that are more active. In Memphis, we're talking more Section 8 housing or buy and hold rentals or something that's more kind of turned towards rentals, which is why I'm glad you have all the new information on Privy in that market.
Good.
All right, everybody. You know what? I'm sad because I had a guest for you, but they're going to be back in October. They were a little sick today, and you only get me on the phone, which means I'm going to be looking at that chat. I'm going to be looking for questions. I want to bring you value today, and I'm going to start by just diving into Privy. And I originally thought I would come in here with like 5 to 6 addresses that were going to be fantastic and walk you through those. But I didn't get that done. And so now you're going to see me from the very start, go look for those 5 addresses. So let's get it going.
Right.
Really excited. Just a second. Here we are in Privy. Is that what you're seeing?
That's what I'm seeing. You're zeroed in on Nashville there.
Yes, I'm already here in Nashville. And for anybody that's new, over here in the top left corner is where you're going to search to just get started. And then, all right. So first thing I do, start zooming in. And I'm looking at the numbers. I want the highest number, and obviously this 300 is. So I'm going to go into that range.
So is this an investor activity search, Corianne?
So I'm in the initial search. So this is going to pull up flips. Yes.
So these are sold flips, right? Investor activity.
Yes, correct.
Cool. Okay.
And then we're going to use your nifty flip it.
These are active, actually.
Oh, okay. And some under contract.
No, those are
So when you
all
initially,
active. The green is active. Yep. So the investor activity search is the one that's on the far left, where you click the button that says investor activity. That'll show you the sold flips and in which neighborhoods you want to go and filter in and find those properties that you can wholesale.
okay, perfect. So normally I would like go in here and sometimes there's a button where it just says show flips. Is that?
It's not in there. There's a toolbar right there, right? Investor activity, fix and flip.
There it is. Awesome.
So that's the one that shows you the investor activity. And then this is where you can see the before and after, and you can see you can build your buyers list here. You can see what they're buying them for, selling them for, what price points, what percentage of ARV.
Okay. So I first want to see that there is activity in any given area. And because I work Nashville already, I've already done some of this search and I know that this Lockland Springs is really great. So I'm going to keep zooming in there.
Yep. Looks like that's got the highest number.
There we go. Yep, that's the highest number. And that's what I want. And then the next thing I'm going to do is click this. I often click that. Is that the right thing?
Yeah, after you've already done your research and kind of built your buyers list, and then you can click find similar active deals. And then it defaults to 75% of the ARV or lower. So that's when you can go into the filter and adjust it up or down, depending upon what you've learned about the market by doing the local market.
Okay, perfect.
Your research.
That makes a lot of sense. Well, let's just click in and see what we find. So this is the house. That looks like it could be a fixer-upper. It's
yeah. No, we're zoomed in really close right now. So I'm only seeing like a small portion of that CMA.
Let's see if I can fix it for you guys.
Okay.
Thank you, Benson. How is that?
It's a little bit better. Cameron, this is pretty.
Still working on this. Let me see if I can screen share differently. Benson, maybe I do need you to drive.
Okay. You want me to jump in there?
How's this? I think I'm going to fix the problem.
Yeah, we can see the full CMA now.
Okay, great. I think I can still, perfect. All right, so when I come in and I see something that could potentially be a flip, I'm always going to jump down and look at the comparables first. Sometimes I want some of the MLS details, but here I'm like, okay, I've got a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. That is very often what buyers are looking for. I want to know what's going on in the area. So I click down here to get the comparables and then go to settings. And I click all and investor only. I like to see what pops up with that one first, because normally it's going to show me like what the true activity is over all of it. A lot of rentals in this area.
Yeah. And just to be clear too, so on the first pass, what it does is we're looking for the most relevant comp. So we don't care if it was an investor comp or it was done, or if it was a regular sale. We're showing you all of those sales, and we use our comping algorithm to find the comps for you. So we're looking at, similar bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, same number of stories, all within a half mile. When you click the all activity one, what that does is that removes the comping algorithm. Okay, and that is just everything that's in the area, regardless if it's a comp or not. So you can see they've got 70 sold comps, right? Or 70 sold properties. And most of those aren't true comparables because we remove the algorithm that makes them similar when you choose all. But when you switch to investor activity, it's looking for properties that could be done by investors, that's the settings, and you click in settings and you click investor only.
Mhm.
So you do it actually different than I do. I typically just keep it high level. I don't click any of those buttons on my first pass because I just want to see the most relevant comparables.
Nice. Okay. So if I refreshed this and it reset, or I think there's a reset button.
Yeah, there's a
right?
reset button right there underneath the map on the right.
Reset. Did you guys know about this settings button underneath the map? Because one of my act directors just found this like a week ago. And the all button allows you to see everything in the area, which added to his comping ability in Texas and a couple other markets that he's in. If you guys don't have Privy, I highly suggest you get Privy. And the nice thing is Benson was so nice to give us a promo code. That promo code is DAMG. That gets you 30% off if you get an annual plan, or 20% off your first month if you're going to go month to month. Don't have it, highly suggest you do. Even as an agent in Colorado, the market that I'm licensed in, I still use this. All right, so that refreshes just to what Privy sees as the comps.
Yep, the true comparable. So again, we have about a 15% tolerance on the square feet. We match up stories, so we're not comparing 2 stories to a ranch. And then we bring in properties like this one here, the one that went for 465.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can see that one looks like it was likely flipped, right?
Yeah, let's find out. Oh yeah, it's cute on the inside. All right, so we definitely have a flipped pretty property. I want to see when they bought it. Oh, they bought it pretty in 2021.
They did.
They did.
But this is
And
still representative of after repair value because it was flipped this year even. They got in it, and then who knows why they sold it so quickly. Job change, divorce, like any number of things, right?
Right, absolutely. And maybe even before it was sold at 425, it could have been sold before then. And I can check that in Privy. Nope, doesn't say it was. Okay, so we're seeing a 465 potentially on this property. This one is even smaller. Note that our subject property is a 3.2 and this comp is a 2.2, which might mean that we could get an even higher number. All right, close out of that. Oh no, backed me all the way out, Benson. There she is.
Yeah, if you click the X, that'll just close the CMA completely.
Okay, I'll do that next time. I want to go back to the comparables and I want to click all and just kind of confirm whether this would be a 465. And then guys, you want me to call an agent? If you do, please drop me an emoji in the chat. We'll just give this one a call and see what's going on. Oh. Something to note, Privy allows you to just circle an area that you want to be in with this little draw tool, which I really like because, for example, these comps that are on the left side of this highway, not comps to this particular property. You want to stay in the neighborhood. I'm curious. This is under contract. Oh, she's tiny, very tiny.
Yeah, the orange just means that's a third party listing, not that it's under contract would be an orange or yellow.
Oh, okay, so this orange that's right here next to the 400 means third party.
That means it was a third party data source.
Nice. Okay. See, Benson, I knew if I was the one poking around in Privy, you would point out all the areas where, even though I use this every day and I'm successful in my business, I can still use it better.
Oh yeah, I do too. Sometimes when I use this with somebody who uses it different than me, I learn stuff too, right? Because everybody has a different way of leveraging the data or the process. I just use it the way I've always used it.
Yeah, exactly. You're kind of just rolling through your deals, and you might, I still cannot believe my acquisitions director didn't know about the all button in settings. So it's like, you've been working with me though, that I always click the all button. One more little peek, and then let's just give a call and see what's going on. Now in here, guys, you're going to go to MLS details, and that's going to give you who your listing agent is. You want to be talking to the listing agent. Because I have access to more information as a agent, I'm going to stop share for just a second, because that's going to give me that phone number. All you need to do to get that phone number is you're going to take that name, search it in Google, because listing agents are definitely putting their number out there if they want to sell.
But you'd be surprised how many don't. Right? Like so many times we'll go and we'll find the office number, and then you get an assistant or an admin who's just answering the phone, and you're like, I just want to talk to the listing agent. Why don't they make themselves more available? But I guess when you
well, those are the ones that then you see on market like for 60 days, because if you can't get a hold of the listing agent, how are you going to put an offer in?
It's true. I don't know. I'm assuming there's some sort of a method to the madness.
All right.
Barbara, we can show it to licensed individuals. We show the name and we show the brokerage name, but we can't show the phone number of the listing agent right now. That's the agreement with the MLS. But if you're licensed, you can see it.
All right. It looks like Andy is the licensed agent on this, so we're going to give Andy a call.
Cool.
And you guys might notice, I don't know what the ARV exactly is. I see a lot of activity, especially a lot of rentals. I've got a really great comp, and I could continue to like dig in and find more, but I want to know if there's even motivation in this property to make it a good wholesale, which is why I like to jump on the phone. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you can hear.
Not yet.
All right, so that number was definitely a robot number. I got the dial tone, but I'm not going to give up. I've got a couple other options. This one's
Zach,
right.
Most people aren't licensed, so no, it won't affect you if you're not licensed, but it can help if you are. It just depends on your angle.
Andy Allen. At the sound of the tone, please leave your name and number, and I will return your call. Thank you.
Hey, Andy, my name is Corey Ann. I am in the business of buying ugly properties in Nashville, and I see that you definitely have one in the 2421 Emmett Avenue, and I would love to have a conversation and see if I'm the right buyer. Please give me a call or text back. This is my cell and the perfect number. Talk soon, Andy.
Very cool.
Right.
So is that a new script you created from the last time we did this? That new twist at the beginning, and like, I'm in the business of buying ugly houses, right? So you're just like, it's interesting. It's going to catch their attention. That was good. I like that.
Thank you. I don't have anything specific that I always go to, but it is about bringing that energy and that smile into the voicemails so that they want to give me energy back and give me a call back.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I'm going to share my screen again. We'll go in and find another one. Okay. So for some reason, I'm back in a nationwide search, but that's okay.
You can just close that out. You don't have to type in anything.
Oh.
You're already in Nashville.
Yes, I am. Can we go in here and make this maybe less properties I can look at? Let's go in and filter.
Yeah, you can filter and you can lower the percentage of ARV.
Nice.
Right now it's capped at 75, so you can do that. You can lower it to, 65, or, Nashville is one of those higher end areas. So whenever you have higher prices, typically you can have a higher percentage of ARV. The lower the price, and this is more for, people in the audience, the lower the price, the lower the percentage of ARV that needs to be for you to make the numbers work.
And what is it going to filter out? Anything that would potentially be at 80% on its list price?
Based off the list price, yeah. So if you set it to 65%, anything that's at 66% or higher won't show in the results.
Fantastic. Okay, cool. So if, for example, my buyers buy at 75%, I wouldn't want to search at 70. Well, I would want to search at 75% because I know that I'm going to negotiate below that.
Right. You want to be at the very max there, but sometimes even lower, because you want to create a margin for them to where it's interesting. So if they're looking at 75, I would definitely be, probably 70 and lower. That's a good mark.
Okay. I'd like to try 70 because buyers in Memphis are going to want to be around 55%. Nashville is closer to 65, depending on the property and where it's located.
And then you can do the purchase price too. That would probably help you find some more homes that are in need of work. Right now, you're just going up to whatever the list price is. So you can lower that a bit. That'll limit the number of properties you're seeing.
I want them to at least have 2 beds. There we go. Let's go. Nice. We're still
I dropped it.
of...
So they're sorted on the left by days on market. So you can just scroll down on the left side and just look at each of those houses and just scroll down. And whenever you find an ugly one, just click it.
I want to reverse it.
There you go.
So I hit sort and I just reverse days on market to see who's been sitting on market for forever. And this property is definitely a for forever. I have not seen one in 500 days, like anywhere. Have you been sitting?
Well, that one looks like it's got burn issues. Like maybe there was a smoke or a fire issue. And some of the ones that are on the market the longest are on and off market, like they're under contract and then they find an issue and then they put it back on the market and then it goes on and off market for whatever reason. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, that could definitely be one, but what we know is that it doesn't trade at this amount. And so that seller is probably in belief that they didn't have this fire. They want the full value out of a flipped home where this is not getting that. I want to maybe find something that's closer in the like 100-day range, not 500, because we probably have a better chance of working with that seller. Let's click on this. Four bed, 4 bath. 1925. She's old. Jumping down to compare. Ooh, there's a lot of investor activity around this one. That's exciting.
Well, this is a little bit different than that. These are investor comps. So investor comps are different than investor activity. These are just properties that support a percentage of ARV. See that percentage of ARV? They're all lower than what you put in the filter at 70. So investor comps are the ones that support the percentage of ARV that you selected in the filter. It doesn't mean they were done by a flipper or it's investor activity.
Interesting. Okay. That's great. I've always wondered what the difference was between this initially popping up and this. So I'm glad that was finally solved for me.
Yep, that just shows the one property that was flipped.
1948, 4-bedroom, 3-bath. Close on square footage, definitely way off on build year. They bought it 260.
And they bought that one from the MLS.
Yeah, they did. And look at what it looks like before. Like, how did they do that? Are we sure this is not a new build?
They just added that pitch in the roof. That's a pretty popular thing. They'll come in and they'll build that new roof line.
Mm-hmm. I rarely see investors take that on, but I can see how that just completely to the face of the house, which means that you could change your comparables because you want the face to look a specific way. Very interesting. 260 was their purchase price. This one would definitely need to, it's not going to trade at 700 because of its age. I want to see all. So when I'm seeing things like 265 to 437, that means it might not be a flip, but it was definitely an improved property because they bought it at a lower price.
Yeah, we consider it a flip, but a flip is subjective, right? We're just looking for two sales that happened in an 18-month period and it went up significantly in value.
Yeah. Okay.
There's quite a bit of activity there, but yours is pretty big. And some of those flips are smaller properties. Like none of those are true comps.
Yeah. I mean, none of them are comps by year. I like to look at year first just to see is anybody even working within that age range for the property. And I'm seeing a lot of 40s, 50s that are getting those improvements, which means investors are after those. But that might be where this agent is making the mistake, is like they're seeing comps. They're saying those are comps, but they're 1950 and not 1925. How long has this been? This was 100 days on market. 140. Let's see if they pick up. Benson, are you watching the chat for me? Because I know that there's some people in there with questions and I want to make sure we give them answers.
Let's see. There's some just interesting questions in there. Can anyone tell me what an active option contract is?
So an option contract is often saying that what you have the ability to do is market the property. So if you're receiving something like an option, you probably are talking to an acquisition person who's holding the contract. This agent might be one of the ones that doesn't post their numbers. I clicked on external listing, which you guys can always do, that pulls you into whatever Privy is going to push, whether it's Zillow, Redfin, or Realtor.com. It still gives you more information.
Are they hiding?
Yeah, they are. They're absolutely hiding. In fact, it looks like the listing might have expired. Which when a listing expires, then I go into skip tracing a seller to see if they're still interested in selling.
Yeah,
and then
you can potentially go direct.
One last check, and then I'll move on to another property. Nope. Okay. So I could continue to go on a hunt there, but I'm not seeing it listed anymore, which, yeah, might give you an opportunity to get an off market on that one. Let's keep rocking and rolling. You guys, do you see that there's just a list of ugly properties here? And they're lined up for you and they all look ugly. If you don't have privy, what the heck are you doing? I've got a code for you. It's DAMG. That's going to give you 30% off an annual plan or 20% off your first month. I'm sorry, 30% off your first month if you go the monthly plan. All right, listed 127 days ago. This guy's small, 2-1, decent square footage. Another 1920s. That's supporting our theory, since we're looking in the same area, that 1920s are not of interest to our end buyer to flip, that they much prefer a 1940s or a 1950s home.
Right.
I'm gonna see if I can 40s or 1950s. Because if it's sitting on market in 1920s, 1923, there's a 1960. Oh dear. Built in 2015 and sitting on market for 122 days. Here we go. 3-bed, 1-bath, 1950s. I want to check this one out. And then I'm gonna head to comparables. All right, I'm already seeing activity, which has got me excited. What's sold in the area? This is a 3-2. Similar square footage. I'll click into this one. So that 1-bath is a major problem in comparison to what else is selling in the area. This often becomes a problem that I see in properties, is the 3-bedroom, 1-bath. Most families with 2.5 kids don't want to share 1 bathroom.
It's true. Yeah, and some of these older homes, like there's enough square footage there to pull a little bit of square feet from some of these living rooms and dens and such, and create another bedroom or bathroom. You know, if you're in an area like Colorado, there's basements, you can add additional bathrooms there. And I think they have basements in some areas of Tennessee. But Corianne, Barbara has a good question here. She says, I get stuck when I'm looking at a property in a, say, a 55% area. And looks like the property is listed at 200K, ARV is only 270. So she doesn't feel comfortable offering like the 140 to 150 to make the numbers work. How do you approach a conversation like that? Is that something you'd even spend any time on it, or would you avoid it? Or how would you go with like looking at a price reduction of 50 to 60 grand?
So I first am going to look at how long has this been on market? Because if somebody has taken it to market at a specific number, one, they already have their asking price out there, but two, they might get it from a retail buyer. So on day 14 and below, an offer that's lower is an insult. So I never actually give a number in those scenarios. I'm willing to have the conversation, but what I'm going to say instead is, my number is so low. It is, I don't want to offend you or your seller. But instead, if anything changes, if they're willing to consider lower numbers, I am going to bring you the absolute best one I can, cash as is, closing quickly. So I'm giving them how I can be of value, but I'm not going to give them that low number until they ask for it. So I'm going to maybe bait it a little bit in front of them to see if they want to ask for it. But many agents are just going to say, no, they want the highest and best, and they're willing to let it sit on market. Great. Okay, thank you. When you have one that's uglier than this, please let me know, especially if it's packed with boxes and all of those things. So
Right.
utilize the opportunity, utilize the agent, don't offend them. That helps.
Yeah, that's a great approach. Like, you just never know, but it's all about motivation. So if they're motivated, that question, like you said, is, how motivated are they to sell? If they're motivated, then then it may not be as insulting to bring in an offer that's 50K below. But also too, like, you can avoid having to submit an offer and just not and getting ghosted by just asking the agent. Like, for the numbers to make sense, I'm gonna have to come in at 150K ish. I don't want to offend you or the seller, but that's where I'm going to need to be. Is it even worth submitting that offer? Is it worth putting that in? And they'll tell you, yeah, no, we won't do it.
They will, especially if you're approaching them to do the work for you to write that contract. So they don't want to write a contract that they know their seller's immediately going to say no to. And that's how you know that they're going to give you that feedback on a verbal offer. Barbara, I think you're in the right range. Like between 30 to 60 days is where the 60,000 to 100,000 off is probably going to happen. But what you need to do is make sure that you're having that relationship with the agent over those 30 days. Hey, how's the listing going? Have you have any offers on it yet? So that when you call on day 60, they're like, yeah, I know this person. Yeah, I know them. They're ready to give a cash offer. They're consistent. They follow up and they want this property. So keep going. All right. 415. I think they're really within a reasonable number on this property, but we already know that a buyer's not going to pick it up here because it's been at 105 days. What that means for me to be able to bring value add to my buyers is it's got to be about 20% below the list price. Just for them to be excited that I brought them a property that's sitting on the market for 100 days. So I'm going to do a quick little calculation to see what off that is. That's 83,000 off of this.
What if they've been doing price reductions along the way?
Man, that's always so difficult. It still means the same thing, that whatever number that list is sitting at, I've got to be well enough below it to bring a good value add proposition to my buyers. So I often tell agents, if I'm having the conversation with them over the first 30 days where they're hoping for a retail buyer, but it's so ugly that we know that's not going to happen. I'm having those conversations already with them, like, hey, please don't drop your list price. If they're even interested in that, don't drop your list price. Get back to me so that I can show that my buyers are going to have value in this. I straight up tell them, like, hey, I don't exist unless I'm bringing my clientele some sort of value. And whatever your list price is, I'm not going to bring.
That's great. I've never heard anybody say that before. Don't drop your price. Call me first. That's a great tidbit. Cool. Are you going to call on that one?
Yeah, I'm going to call on that one.
While you're doing that, go ahead.
I was just going to say, especially since it is an $80,000 off, you can kind of hear that first conversation that's probing to find out if there's motivation in it.
Cool.
While I'm doing that, what are you going to do?
Well, you're finding the number. I was going to answer Fareen's question, which is, there was some confusion about the comparable section. Does the investor's selection for you, does it also do the subdivision for you? No, it's based off of distance, Fareen. So it's a half a mile from the center of it to the edge. If you can stay within the same subdivision, you can, but distance is more important than the subdivision. Even if you're in the same subdivision, and it was some subdivisions are miles and miles long. That's a common thing. So you want to stay within a half a mile, and if you can stay within the same subdivision, do it. But mostly, it's also staying on the same side of major roads. So major roads oftentimes are cutoffs between subdivisions.
Absolutely, or at least like a neighborhood feel. If you're crossing a highway, there's something else a different vibe probably on that side.
Yep.
All right, let's give Christine a ring. Christy. Glad I checked in.
There. Thank you for calling Christy Cooper with Super.
Well, you guys have already heard me drop a voicemail, so I'm going to keep moving. What I would probably do in that scenario, if I'm not leaving a voicemail, I'm dropping a card with my face on it that says, hey, this is why I'm reaching out. Agents are really receptive to that.
Do you ever double dial?
Yeah. Actually, one of my friends was doing that this morning in one of our Astro calls, and he got somebody on a double dial. So let's do it. I personally don't. I'm normally a first dial and then a text. I think probably my own preference is that, because when people double dial me, I come with a like, what the heck do you want kind of energy. So I don't want that from my agents. But let's see.
And Maria said she would love to hear your voicemail again.
All right, this time we'll leave it, because it'll probably be different.
Hey there. Thank you for calling Christy Cooper with Super Home. Please leave a message or send a text, and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. Thanks so much. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hi, Christy. My name is Corey Ann. I am online right now looking at 1417 Preston Drive. Looks like it's your listing and you probably want it sold by now. So I'm hoping I might be your right buyer. If you could give me a call or text back, this is my cell number and the perfect one. Looking forward to talking soon.
Yeah, it was different. See, so that's great, you guys. Like, she doesn't do the same thing every time. She's just kind of going with the flow. But the goal of the voicemail is to get them to call you back, right? So like she said, she's smiling through. She was literally smiling while she was leaving that voicemail, right? And that comes through on the other end. They sense that. I don't know how it does. Somehow people can tell if you're smiling or if you're not. And she's not giving her phone number because we're online, but typically she would actually give her real number, like, call me back at this number. But she's doing that just for the sake that you guys don't blow her phone up.
Which you can blow my phone up on IG. It's just my name. DM me, because I would love to partner with you. But for now, and normally you're reaching somebody's cell phone anyway. They're probably seeing that number. It might be it might be kind of an aged thing to be like, call me back at this number and then repeat it. But I still do that.
I just think it's good business. It's a business thing. It's not an age thing.
And if I could impress anything on anybody that's scared of the phone, that is absolutely it. Like, I think one of the things that makes me good on the phone is I'm expressive. Like, if that person is in front of me, that's how I would move with my hands and my mouth. And if I'm talking to an important buyer for me, I'm standing up. There's no way I'm talking to that buyer sitting down, because I want that essence of, I'm a salesperson, I'm going to get this sold, etc. So make sure your body and where you're working is a space that's going to give you the energy and the tone that you need to make your business happen. Sharing again.
Yeah, you guys, here's Corey Ann's Instagram. Go follow her. She's got some good content there. Definitely check her out.
Please. Thank you, Benson. I really appreciate it. And if you guys don't have Privy yet, I've already said this, but I'm going to say it again because I really, really believe in this tool and I use it every day. Privy, we've got a code for you. It's DAMG. If you use that code, you're going to get 30% off a full annual plan, or 20% off your first month.
Awesome.
Ooh, this one's 17 days. Hasn't been on long. Let's see what's going on.
It looks like we've done a couple updates, but it's still older. Lots of room to add value there.
Definitely room to add value. This is right on the line of something our team talks about often. So I want to share this little tip with people. Is it FHA financeable? This is a question I will bring to agents often. Is this property FHA financeable? And what that means is that there's more hoops they have to jump through as a first-time home buyer, and the house has to be at a certain condition. And for example, as a traditional realtor, I had a FHA financing client that ended up not being able to purchase the home because there was paint chips. Like one area of the house had paint that was chipping, and that meant that there could be lead paint beyond those. And they said, nope, we're not going to finance it. So it's little tiny things that would make something FHA financeable or not. This probably is. And that means that a retail buyer might be able to just come in, purchase it for their 2.5 kids, repaint these cabinets something other than atrocious green, and immediately have equity. And we want that in the marketplace. Like, we want those people to be able to buy homes. And if they can pay this amount, fantastic. But also specific areas, like some people don't want something that's this old, or where they have to paint the cabinets or something like that. So there are opportunities even in FHA financeable homes for it to be a good wholesale if the motivation is there. All right. Let's see what's sold. Clicking on that sold button and just doing a little scroll down. This is similar in age, similar in size, and clearly had something happen. So let's give it a click. Yeah, it looks like it might have had just like a medium repair job.
Yep.
Very cool. Okay. 385. It's where that's sold. It's not like very fancy, but at least it's clean, up to date. 5. That's lower than where we even are listed. So that's not a good sign for this listing.
No.
$540. That's smaller. Interesting. That might have been another flip like scenario. I wonder what they did to that property. 290 to 540. Settings. This is my favorite setting. And I clicked all in investor activity.
Yeah, this one on Enos is severely overpriced. And there's data there that if that one that was at 800 and something, if that one was a true comparable, but it looks like it's an outlier.
It looks like they want flipped value, because here I have a 480 and a 500, both 3.2s. This lot is significantly bigger. I'd have to adjust there. This lot is a little bit more. I wonder if the lot, well, and probably the square footage is what gives you that extra 20,000. So let's click on this one. It's a little bit closer, and it is active, by the way. So it's sitting on market. The flipper is waiting to make their profit.
Yeah.
And then I'd like to see how finishes were done. Oh, yeah.
That's a nice one. It's 13 days on market. It hasn't sold yet.
But if I called the buyer, here or the seller, either way you look at it, the seller of this is a buyer to me on another property for sure.
Yeah.
Because they bought at 287. Let's say they get there for 80. But we don't know that for a fact. I can't call this a comp. Let's look at the sold ones. Ooh, another 310 to 500-ish. Okay, so just out of those 3 properties, I can get a feel grossly overpriced for where I would need it, but roughly probably like 310, which is considerably lower than what they have. And they've been not on the market terribly long in this particular market. So I'm going to give them a call and see if we can get that first conversation with an agent where they're priced incorrectly. All right.
Nice if we can get one agent on the phone today.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system. 61560444342 is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you finish recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hi, Jane. My name is Corey Ann, and I was taking a look at a listing you have in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm currently looking for something I can put some work into and then bring back to market. So hoping we can connect and I might be your right buyer. Looking forward to it. Thanks, Jane. All right.
So someone was
There's something in
asking
the air today. Nobody's picking up.
I know. Chuck was wondering that he notices that you're using your own cell number. Have you ever went and purchased a number to use for the purposes of calling, or are you just fine using your own cell and just, that's just how you do business?
I started off using my own cell for a few years. And that's because I don't get flagged. I don't think you would get flagged. You'd have to make a lot of calls to look like a robocaller. Now I have a business number and a cell phone number because sometimes I just need that separation to be able to tell agents to ideally go to my work number so that I'm only looking at their text when I'm working. But when it comes to just being flagged and stuff, unless you're sending a lot of text specifically from your number, you should be totally fine. What else do we got, guys? We've got 7 more minutes, which is outrageous. I can't believe how fast this hour went. So if you've got questions, now's the time to drop it. We know we don't have enough time to find another property and call another agent. So give us your questions so we can help you get over that hump and hopefully take the rest of your week and make it extremely successful. Also, just a reminder that we've been using Privy this whole time, and we also have a code just for you because we want you to be able to have this resource and add a discount. There's plenty of areas to see that code, but it is DAMG, and it gets you 30% off a annual plan or 20% off your first month if you go that route. I see Barbara again. Corey, and you look at comps as opposed to using 60% ARV, et cetera, based on the area. These seem to be coming in around 60%. Yeah, I think you're right. So that is the correct calculation, but because I never really nailed down ARV in most of these, but I wanted to see if there was motivation from the agent, I didn't do a calculation for my MAO. Anybody that's new, MAO is max allowable offer. And I often don't go into my first call with that number in mind, especially if it's going to be a lower number. And we know that it will be. So I'm not going to want to give that to them on the first call. I want to take that back. I want to work on the number and then bring it to them on a second call.
Awesome. Can you explain what comp is before it's over? Is that just in general, Zach, like what a comp is, or talking about
I got
specific
you,
comps?
So comp is a comparable, and that's what it stands for, is a comparable property to the one that you're looking at. So anytime that you've got a subject property, you want to find something that looks like that, generally, except flipped, done beautifully. A flipper went in, they put all the finishing touches on it, and then they resold it for a specific number. That specific number is your after repair value, your ARV. And then you're going to take that number, you're going to do your calculations for where your buyer's buying, and that's going to give you your MAO. So MAO, comp, ARV, some very standard wholesaling lingo. No, you don't need a local phone, Mark.
Yeah.
I call
People
over
move
5
so often
different
these
markets.
days.
What was that, Benson?
People move so often these days that they just keep their numbers forever. So yeah, it's very uncommon, especially in Colorado, for people to have like a local number. It's actually becoming more and more rare. Barbara was asking, what is the conversation with an agent if the listing says no wholesalers?
It is asking why no wholesalers. There's probably a specific reason for that. And they're going to be willing to tell you what it is. Often that's that they don't want to go through an assignment process where you might fall out of contract in your IP. So if you were going to pick up that property, one, you would want to be honest with the agent. Hey, I don't know what LLC I'm going to place this in, and I want to assign it. If they say no assignments, then you have to do transactional funding or pass-through funding that allows you to close it and then resell and close. So that's always an option.
What do you do when you
privy shirt? Ram noticed your privy shirt, and that was the first thing I noticed this morning too, because that bright blue is amazing. Is there anywhere we can all get a privy shirt if we're fans?
There is not a place where anybody can get a privy shirt currently, but potentially in the near future. Let's see. Oh, Kimberly, she did talk about what an active option contract was. I didn't hear the whole explanation, but that will be in the replay. You mentioned that, right?
Yeah, I did. They can look different. So Kimberly, you have my number. You should text me. I'd be happy to look at it and explain further on your specific option contract. That goes for everybody. You can find me, DM me on IG at just my name.
Last question, and then we'll let everybody get going and let Corianne go back to her life. What do you do when you come up against an agent that won't accept a contract without viewing the property first?
I tell them that I'm not going to view the property, and that I have got way too many things going on in terms of my teams at other projects that I'm not going to stop a project. Another thing that I've got going on to take my contractors out to see this property, if we're not even on the same numbers, if we're not even going to go under contract, I'm sorry, I have too much to go on. But if this number works for you, I would love to get this under contract. And then in our IP period, I can send somebody out there and we're going to finalize this. Then second thing, if they still throw a fit in regards to that, is to do a FaceTime video with them. Be like, I can't be there in person. Like, I don't have time for that. But you can absolutely go there yourself and get me on a Zoom or me on a FaceTime where they feel like they're experiencing that you care enough to take that time.
Yeah, I love it.
And that's it, guys. Thank you all for your patience with me driving Privy. And I'm so grateful to have this community to be able to help. And I want you guys to have Privy. So if you don't have Privy to be able to run your own comps, don't forget right here, we just dropped you the promo code DAMG for 20% off your first month, 30% off your annual plan. You guys are awesome. I really am excited to see your wholesaling business take off. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day.